Hello and welcome to week 3 of the Back to Basics program. Today we are going to be talking all about gut health and how to take you from the symptoms of bloating, constipation, heartburn, abdominal pain, constipation, diarrhea, nausea, excessive burping, even beyond the gastrointestinal tract when we think about what an unhealthy gut microbiome can do. It also extends to our mental health. It extends to our immunity, how we can assimilate and break down certain nutrients. So thinking about all the different micronutrient deficiencies and what that could lead to. So, we're really going to look at what foods can promote a healthy diversity within your gut, what might disturb this or cause an imbalance, and we're also going to look at other lifestyle choices and how they might impact your gut microbiome. So, going from those symptoms that are not favorable into what a healthy gastrointestinal system might lead to. So, some of the good things that you can expect once you have this balance again would be enhanced immunity. So, it's really great to start working on this before cold and flu season. More regular bowel movements. So, if you're experiencing stress or anxiety about trying to find a bathroom, or you feel like it's inhibiting your life, then this is something that you can look at and hopefully improve some of those symptoms. Energy levels, we find those often improve once the gut health is addressed and improved. Cravings. So this is something I think a lot of people don't realize, is that when you take out certain foods like sugars and refined grains from your diet, then the bacteria that have been feeding those are then kind of depleted, which means you're going to have reduced cravings for those foods as well. And of course, optimize nutrient absorption. So the bacteria within your small and large intestine help to break down, assimilate, and absorb the nutrients that you're getting from your foods. So, looking at how to get on the road to better gut health, and you can check out the PDF document that is also in the program to kind of guide you through this. But today we're going to really be talking about some of the common offenders within the diet that promote more of the unhealthy bacteria within the gut, how to replace those with prebiotic rich foods, which help to feed those healthy probiotic bacteria that we're looking to promote. So we're also going to talk about how to repopulate with probiotic rich foods. We will take a deeper dive into probiotic supplements. Those are really helpful, especially at certain times, or if you're dealing with antibiotic treatment or different gastrointestinal issues. There's definitely a need for those nowadays. And then finally, how to restore the healthy gut flora kind of continuously. So instead of having to do more of a high dose probiotic, how can we just keep up with healthy lifestyle factors and foods to prevent the need for supplements later on? And then we'll look at a course of daily stressors and sleep, among other things. So when we're talking about the diet and what could be a common offender within that, typically what I look at is the standard American diet being generally high in sugars, refined grains, and processed foods. So the highly processed diet causes a dramatic decrease in microbial diversity. And this kind of happens in two ways. So first, the high amounts of simple sugars lead to a boom in sugar-loving bacteria, which I kind of touched on earlier, how that affects your cravings. This also alters the microbiome species composition. And secondly, processed foods contain additives and emulsifiers that are introduced to kind of help impart a better taste, texture, or overall experience with the food. But researchers have actually indicated that this impacts a sizable decrease in microbial diversity. There's also a study recently published in Nature that explains these alterations in gut microbiome lead to low-grade inflammation in the gut and such metabolic disorders such as obesity and diabetes. And in terms of gut health, chronic alcohol consumption can cause some pretty serious problems, including dysbiosis. But I do want to mention, if you are to indulge in an alcoholic beverage every now and then, there are some that are better than others. There was a study that I reviewed that looked at 9 ounces of red wine versus about 3 ounces of gin, and found that the polyphenols in the red wine did help to establish more healthy flora within the gut. And another common offender that isn't necessarily just a particular ingredient has to do with lack of variety. So, lack of diversity within the diet can actually kind of inhibit your ability to recover from harmful influences like infection and antibiotics. Whereas a diet consisting of a wide variety of whole foods like fruits, vegetables, some naturally gluten-free, intact whole grains can lead to a more diverse gut flora and getting a variety within each group. In fact, changing up your diet can alter your gut floral profile after only a few days. So this can make a difference pretty quickly. So the food that you're eating, of course, is going to provide nutrients for your body, but they're also providing nutrients that are going to help the bacteria grow. So you want to have this diverse range of bacteria, which means you have to have a diverse diet in order to kind of feed those as well and promote the growth of the good ones. In thinking about this fact, when we look at the past 50 years, much of the diversity in the Western diet has been lost. In fact, 75% of the world's food supply comes from only 12 plants and 5 animal species, which is kind of crazy if you think about how many calories people, are eating within the day, and it coming from such a really tiny, really segment of foods. Another thing, of course, are artificial sweeteners that I want to touch on. There's a variety of reasons that I really encourage people to avoid things like saccharin and sucralose. And one of the reasons are the many studies that have shown the alterations in gut bacteria that happen when these artificial sweeteners are consumed. And fortunately now there are a lot of other options if you're looking for a non-nutritive sweetener, doing things like organic, good source of stevia. Allulose is another good option, and even monk fruit. So those are really good non-nutritive sweeteners that will not impact the gut microbiome unfavorably as the other ones will. And next we're going to move on to our prebiotics. So prebiotics are non-digestible fermented food-based products that feed probiotic bacteria, stimulating their growth and metabolic activity. Prebiotics offer another method of establishing a healthy balance of bacterial species in the microbiome. So while probiotics introduce greater quantities and strains of health-promoting bacterial species, the prebiotics ensure the establishment and growth of these organisms. Prebiotics have been shown to increase levels of beneficial bacteria, playing a role in the promotion of our health, of course. So most of the prebiotics are types of dietary fiber, and this is a kind of carbohydrate that we as humans cannot actually digest. And excuse me, not every fiber is a prebiotic because there's 2 categories of dietary fiber. We have our soluble, which is fermented by the gut bacteria, and insoluble fiber, which is not fermented. So the soluble fibers are metabolized by our beneficial gut microbes are considered prebiotics. And inside your gut, the prebiotics stimulate beneficial gut microbes to grow. And of course, this will improve your health overall. The health effects of prebiotics have been shown to improve gastrointestinal health by inhibiting pathogens and immune system stimulation. They've been shown to reduce blood lipid levels and even improve brain function. So recent research has also found that prebiotics may help prevent and treat type 2 diabetes and lower the risk of cardiovascular disease, lower cholesterol, and positively impact metabolism. Researchers have also found that a healthy gut microbiome fed by prebiotics has positive effects on bone density and strength. The American Journal of Clinical Nutrition also found that children who tried prebiotics felt more satisfied after a meal. So when we think about this and appetite regulation, it could be a really good and healthy thing to incorporate into your diet, really at any age. So some really great sources of prebiotics come from foods like lentils, chickpeas, and beans. And again, make sure that the best thing to do would be to soak and kind of sprout these to enhance all of the B vitamins and nutrients from these foods. Oats, bananas, Jerusalem artichokes. These are actually a really good potato substitute if you can find them. Asparagus, garlic, leeks, onions, and nuts. So those are just a few of the prebiotic or foods that help to promote or feed the probiotics within your guts. So now on to probiotics. These are naturally occurring friendly bacteria that are in they're an integral part of a healthy digestive system. And they exist primarily in the small and large intestine, and they enhance health in several key ways. They help by assisting with food and nutrient assimilation. They inhibit harmful bacteria by stimulating the immune system. And a healthy gut flora goes well beyond the GI tract, as I talked about earlier in the introduction. Bacteria can impact cravings through the gut-brain axis. It can impact mood. With proper probiotic supplementation, you can replace these intestinal tract organisms that have been lost to antibiotic use, disease, poor diets, stress, and other factors. So there's really two ways to get your probiotics in the diet, and that could be through foods such as miso. So you can find this, I'm not going to say where because you guys already know, but you can find it in the refrigerated section. Fermented miso, you can make soups with this. You can add it to salad dressings. It's kind of like an umami flavor, I guess I should say. Kombucha, this is a fermented tea. Make sure that you're checking the sugar content because you don't want to get too much of that. Pickles, look for like the lacto-fermented pickles versus one that's just been soaked and cooked in vinegar. Same thing with buttermilk, kimchi, and sauerkraut. So making sure that they're naturally fermented so that you're getting the healthy bacteria in those. There's also different cheeses. I think we discovered that the softer cheeses actually have some more probiotics in them. Things like fermented dairies such as yogurt and kefir. And again, just making sure that you are checking the sugar content to make sure that you're not getting any additives, any of those emulsifiers or sugars that we talked about earlier that actually kind of contribute to an unfavorable gut bacteria by getting rid of the good stuff that we're looking to gain from those probiotic-rich foods. But sometimes these probiotic-rich foods just aren't going to cut it. Maybe you had to take a round of antibiotics, maybe you got an infection, and that's where these probiotic strains can come in and help. But the problem with probiotic supplements is that they're very difficult. It's very difficult to find a good brand because these probiotic species are actually, it's hard to get them to survive from the time of processing, manufacturing, distribution, and then even just within your gut. So I wanted to pull out a label here and we can kind of break this down so that you know what to look for when you're looking for a probiotic supplement. So some of the main problems that I found just in general when you're looking at companies is that the strain identification is not there or the count is not there. And the strain identification, which is this number after the italicized name, that's where really you know that strain has been researched and what it's used for. You also want to prevent strain crossover. So this strain is not the same as, another one that could be its cousin. It's just not researched. A lot of the probiotics are just unstable to stomach acid. So you want to find strains that have been researched and get down into the small and large intestine, or that they have a capsule that can get through the hydrochloric acid. There's also issues with moisture entering the capsule, so that negatively affects the longevity of the probiotic viability. Different species for, different things here. So nowadays, when food just simply isn't enough, then I recommend a variety of probiotics from a couple of different brands, but we're just going to focus on one brand today just due to how much information we want to give you at one time. So here you can see on the label in the italicized, you have the genus, or the first word is the genus followed by the species. And then in parentheses, you have the strain. So typically you're going to find a lot of the genus from the bifidobacterium, the lactobacillus, and more often than not, you're not going to see a strain on there. But the strain, by having this, you can actually look up, like if we're looking at the very bottom one, you can see bifidobacteria longum and then UABI-14. So if you wanted to, you can, go into PubMed and research that strain and see just what this strain is used for. So on this one, we have Lactobacillus rhamnosus. I think that's the sixth one down. That's really helpful to develop a friendly environment for good bacteria to grow, and it's also good for anxiety. Whereas Lactobacillus casei helps to maintain gut integrity and is more supportive of a strong immune system. So it's important that you have this strain, especially if you're, using these probiotics for a specific reason more than just general health and maintenance. And then we also have something called colony forming units. So these CFUs showing which type of or how many bacteria you're getting from the supplement. So this one has 100 billion CFUs. So this is a pretty high dose, but you also don't want to go probably under, under a couple billion would probably just not do that much for you. So making sure that you're getting a good hefty dose of probiotics with your double checking through your CFUs. Now this is just a breakdown, and you can see it in the PDF that was uploaded as well. There's just 5 different probiotics that I wanted to focus on for different reasons. So probiotic synergy being really just a basic maintenance for the gastrointestinal system and immune support. This is something that I often give to people if they're traveling, if I just want to improve their digestion and enhance their immunity, but there's really nothing really going on or standing out. It's just a nice foundational probiotic. The next one being the Probiotic Supreme. This is just a step up from the Probiotic Synergy. It's also a dairy-free formulation. So it's a little bit heavier, meaning you can use this after antibiotic therapy. If someone's struggling with a formula that, let's just say they're avoiding dairy entirely, so, going with this dairy-free formula. It's good for symptoms of IBS, candida, and dysbiosis. The Probiomed, it comes in strengths of 50, 100, and 250. So the 50 and 100 are still, very potent. These are good for replenishing the microflora, recolonizing the bacteria. I often use these during antibiotic treatment, spaced several hours away from the antibiotic. And then I also like to add in the 250. It's just a 2 weeks of this probiotic after a round of antibiotics. So this is really good for people who are dealing with, infections, or they have a weakened immune system. If they've got some serious GI issues going on, this is a great way to repopulate it. The probiophage has something called bacteriophages or probiophages in them. It's effective for things that are usually more related to a certain bacteria of E. coli. So UTIs and vaginitis might be symptoms, but they help to break down the E. coli while also supporting beneficial bacteria in the GI tract. And then finally, there's Phloromyces. So this is a Saccharomyces. It's a beneficial non-pathogenic yeast. And this is what I try to put almost everyone who is taking an antibiotic on during their therapy to kind of help with yeast overgrowth and prevent things like diarrhea and gastrointestinal issues that come as a result of antibiotic usage. So finally, some other lifestyle factors that I want to address is, antibiotic use. Nobody wants to take these, but of course, sometimes we have to. And just making sure that you're, taking the right steps from a nutritional standpoint while you're on them. lack of exercise. So higher fitness levels have been associated with a greater abundance of something called butyrate, which is a short-chain fatty acid that's important for overall health, and butyrate-producing bacteria. So regular physical activity promotes the growth of beneficial gut bacteria, including bifidobacterium and Akkermansia, which is a bacteria shown to play an important role in metabolic health and the prevention of obesity. So even things that aren't related to what we're putting into our gastrointestinal systems can certainly impact the gut microbiome. There's also, of course, sleep, thinking about the circadian rhythm, and this can actually play a role in your gut health. So the body has a 24-hour internal clock, and this is called circadian rhythm. Sleep deprivation can disrupt the circadian rhythm, and this appears to have harmful effects on your gut bacteria. And of course, we know high stress levels cause a lot of issues within the body, but of course, this can reduce blood flow and alter the gut bacteria. So thinking about it in this context as well. And smoking, just not good for really anything. It affects every organ in the body. Giving up smoking can, of course, improve your gut health by increasing the diversity of the gut flora. And this can occur after only 9 weeks. So really that's all I have for today's talk on gut health. Make sure you take a look at the PDF that's been uploaded on gut health and let us know if you have any questions at all. Thanks.